church plays a very important role in your folks' life now.
Yeah.
What was it like back then too, as children?
You gotta go to church.
Your parents were very religious.
If you don't go to church, you don't leave your house. You stay with pajamas all day.
Oh.
I feel fine now. I was sick this morning. No.
My dad was very strict. And you know, those days, over by the gym, they would have bingo.
Okay.
And they would have prizes, and everybody would play bingo. They had the Portuguese festival. They had the Filipino festival. And, I mean, it was fun until they said no more bingos. But it was a family thing.
Right.
And they stopped it. I mean, practically the whole Kīlauea was out there.
And that was a church event.
That was
The
a
bingo
church
was a
event.
Church
event.
and the plantation. It was a combination.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the plantation played a great role with the churches. Because we had the Catholic Church and then we had the Episcopal Church. So, you know, you had your followings.
Right.
But when it came time for fellowship, they didn't say, oh, because you're an Episcopalian, you cannot play with the Catholics. Hey, you just blended in everybody, you know. It was free for all, everybody. So it wasn't a prejudice community. It was a family community.
We didn't know that word.
But you know, they cook the sweet bread in a brick oven, you know, the round brick oven. Mrs. Baptist used to cook in there. Damien Baptist grandma.
And that was a church oven.
No,
No.
it's a was in the Raposo's yard.
Oh.
She cooked. They put the 1x12, I think, across the ditch. Have a ditch between the two. She would come across and bake bread for the carnival.
And our job, the young kids, our job was to, with the tea leaf string, we were there to chase the flies because she'd make the bread and then she'd baste it with the yellow of the eggs.
Oh, yes.
You know, for the color. So our job was to chase the flies. And they made these little, like donuts, we call it belinge, where they'd roll it out and then tie it in a knot. And our pay was, when the things were done, we'd have that. So we'd be swimming in a ditch and we knew when the bread was coming out. And then she'd have butter. So Portuguese style, you don't cut hot bread with a knife.
Oh.
You break it.
Oh.
So you break it open and you put the butter and we were rationed because we could eat the whole pile because, you know, we had chased the flies, so we deserve pay.
Yes.
But you guys went swim. You guys was having fun. But because we were swimming, we hungry. So that was our pay.
Oh.
That we had those belinge for our payment.
Oh my goodness. Sounds
Then when we had the carnivals that they baked the bread for,
and the carnivals were tied to
the church.
The church.
Yeah.
On the front of the old gym.
Old gym.
The old gym.
Where the parking lot is.
Yes.
They my friend, the Mrs. Quinones, her parents used to live down Anahola in the village, and they used to raise watermelon. So there was one pickup truck that went to Anahola to pick up the watermelon, and it was nice size. And somehow, taking it off the truck, one or two of the watermelons would fall and break. We don't know why, but the watermelon would fall. So whoever went to get watermelon and whoever was around, we had to partake because you cannot waste watermelon.
You just had to.
You had to.
Yeah. No waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was all for prizes.
Ah.
When
They
you,
used
get,
it.
when you get
Yeah.
bingo.
Yeah.
Oh,
bingo or throw ball, you know, they had the pyramid of milk bottles. You hit it down with a ball.
So the carnival was a fundraiser for the
Yeah.
church?
Yeah.
Oh.
they had the
And get
spinning
together of
wheel.
the
Yeah.
get together of the community.
Most of the
Oh, nice.
prizes were like bedspreads and things that the people need.
Right.
That's what they had for prizes, you know.
I love it was see a lot of the wives were housewives, so they would crochet this and crochet that, and so that was basically free prizes that they would donate towards
Right.
the get together.
And they would have these carnivals once a year?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
more
once a
often?
year.
Once a year.
Everybody looked forward to
Yeah.
that because it was a big fun. And then the church had the Holy Ghost feast, and we would all meet in Kapa, all the churches, and we would parade all around, and then they would have like a festival there in the park.
Oh,
Yeah,
terrific.
in those days.
Porgy bean soup with
Yeah.
sweet bread.
There was even a Portuguese society, and they had a paper, and they wrote about different things, and they put recipes in it, and all of that.
Oh.
In those days, yeah. Those are good days.
You know, plantation time,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what nationality, everybody would help each other. If your kids go near the road, no matter what nationality, they scold them. Then they tell, I know one, I tell my husband, you kids stay on the sidewalk, but when they go by the road, I scold them, go in the yard. And he tell my husband said, scold them. But you know, no matter what nationality, everybody shared. As far as I know, everybody shared what they get. It was just like a big family.
Right.
You know, that was really, really good times. I treasure that.
Yeah.
I remember Auntie Jenny Ching. She's kinda out of it now, but when she was all right, she had her snack shop and stuff. I used to go there, and guys would say, "How you know her?" I says, "I know her because my mom used to shop at their Ching Yang store, and she used to change my diapers." They went, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'd walk in with my mom. My diaper would be falling off. She would tell me, 'Come here.' And at that time, there was all cloth diapers. And she would change my diapers. And your mother never cared." She says, "No, thank you. You changed my baby's diaper." So every time I tell her, I remember you changing my diaper and poking me with the pin. She says, "I never do that to you." I says, "Yeah. Lucky I can show you the pukas." But she chuckled about it, and but there little things that happen as you're growing up that sticks on your mind, and there's a lot of things that you don't want to forget and you don't want to remember, but it's there.
You know, another thing that we used to do that we really enjoyed was whenever there was a flood in the rivers, Hanalei River along the road, it was just line up with people with their poles catching opus.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big thing that everybody was there fishing. And the lines would get tangled and you have to dive down and get it because it got stuck and unhook it. But nobody had any arguments about it.
And the
they
telephone
just
lines had all that
continue.
suji.
Yeah, a lot of them that the kids would hook it up so fast it would catch. But that was one of the fun things what we did.
Yeah.
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 And my dad, at times that he would take Wayne and I up the river. We would walk Hanalei up in the river, and my dad would say, "Well, we're going fishing up there." Well, Wayne and I decided we're not going to fish. We're going to catch the fish with our hand. So we would go in the river because it wasn't deep, but there was a lot of rock. We would fill the rocks and catch the opus. And my dad would say, "That's not the way you do it." But we wouldn't listen. And we would do that all the time.
So several times you folks mentioned floods. What other, I guess, natural disaster kind of events did you folks kind of,
Hurricane,
endure?
tidal wave.
There was a
Like
big
tsunami,
tidal
yeah?
wave in
That tsunami in 1946 was
Yeah.
bad.
that was real
Yeah.
bad.
It's a real bad one.
It hit Haena.
It hit
Really
Kīlauea.
bad. Kīlauea. They were looking for one of her classmates. And
How did it affect folks up here in Kīlauea?
Kīlauea,
No.
No, nothing.
Too
It was
high.
okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
and they were looking for that girl and they couldn't find her.
They found
And-
her in the back of the ice box on the
Underneath
cliff.
I thought it
No,
was under the rice.
I guess the what's called the
Oh.
And she was
wall,
dead.
the dirt, the ice box had pinned her there. Taxi went help clean up, so he saw that.
Kaliwa was a little town there.
Had
Gas
3
station,
stores down there.
stores. It was a
3
nice little.
stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice little town
3
there.
stores.
Yeah, couldn't
You know, the 58
Sorry.
tidal wave, I actually watched it from up on
Yeah,
the
we
hill.
were all up on the hill watching.
And you know, you saw the water come in, the water go out, and then you see the fish on the sand, flipping. And then you'd see the water come in and then go right up the utility pole and then go out. And then after everything subsided, we saw Wendell Gu. His parents' house where KK lives now.
Yeah.
Their house had this huge utility pole cemented in the ground. And he had these big beams as floor joists. Well, the tidal wave went there, lifted the house off, and it was like a houseboat going down the river until it reached the mouth of the river. Then the water churned, and all you saw was debris.
Oh my gosh.
The
The water
came in
is
like
so
a mountain.
strong. If you go down Kalihiwai by KK's house, you see the pillar there, you can see part of the bridge there. If you go just beyond that, maybe about 10 yards, and on the cliff there, you look to the left by the habush, you see the bridge that spanned the river is there.
Yes.
Yeah, and you figure at that time there, the cement was not as cheap as now. It was really well. So for the water to take one whole bridge off its foundation and put it and settle it in the river, you know how strong the thing is.
Right.
And then if you talk to Tom Pickett, people say, "Hey, you talking through your head." Kalihiwai Bay, there are 2 anchors, boat anchors. And beginning of this year, I was talking to Tom and I was telling him, about the tidal wave and stuff. He says, "I hear you say that there's a anchor." I says, "Yeah. I saw the anchor when the tidal wave." He said, "No, you never see one. You get 2 anchors there." Because he free dives and he said it's there, the anchors from the ship. So we were told that if you're fishing and you see the fish going away, just swimming away, head for the shore because a tidal wave is coming. The fish sense, they have that sense that the tidal wave is coming. So when that happens, head for the hills.
Right.
So
That's
Yeah, there's people that build all their house on the close to the ocean. Every so many 100 years or so, that it comes in, they're in for a rude awakening. They don't know. I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
we've actually seen the tidal wave. And it's eerie. It's not, a big wave, that
It's a mountain.
it just come and just
Something.
goes up, up, up.
Yeah.
So, Mr. P, you said earlier that you worked for the plantation during the day. What did you do?
I was, this friend of mine, Mitchell Quinones, he and I were the electrician apprentice because this guy, Tony Baptist, he was the journeyman electrician for the factory. He took care of the motors, the wiring, and everything in there. And I was his apprentice. And Kochi, Henry Mortsugo, he used to take care of the houses. If you had a problem with you wanted a plug or whatever, he would do that. And Mitchell was his apprentice. And where the, what is it now? That therapy is by the pharmacy.
Yes.
That used to be the electric shop.
Oh.
That's where I used to work. He and I, the four of us used to work in there. And then in the back, there was this huge cement area that they'd store the water that they'd use to make steam.
Mm-hmm.
So that always had to have, a lot of water. So they had a special ditch that came to fill it up because they needed the water to go into the fire room to make the steam. Because they started off with a diesel generator,
Mm-hmm.
and then until they could, light the fire and then start making steam. And I think 9/10 of the factory, the dispensary, all of the areas were all run by the steam generators.
Oh.
Even the crushers, those heavy crushers, they had a steam mechanism to turn those, and it all ran by the steam.
Mm.
So steam was a very important thing in the factory
Mm-hmm.
to run everything. And they had some huge motors that they had to run.
Mm-hmm.
And
How long did you have that job?
I stayed there, I think, like about 4 years.
Right
4 or
out of
5
high
years.
school.
No. After. They were looking for, young people.
Mm-hmm.
And the company provided UICSM. It's a home study course that, they'd have books that you'd have to read and take tests on.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of lazy, so I kicked back and then I said, I'm going to escape. I'm going to work for the hotel. Then when the hotel closed, I went to the phone company.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew nothing about the phone company when I started.
Mm.
I know you pick them up, get one sound. If no one sound, something wrong. But then through, working in there, I learned all about the switches, the dial tone, and I stayed in the office for 6 years. Then I went outside, which was actually a blessing in disguise. Because I used to get sick every time in there because we were in a basement and was the rec room and everybody smoked.
Oh.
So when I went home from work, we were living with my wife's grandma in Anahola. I'd have to literally take off my clothes outside.
Wow.
Because the thing was so stink with cigarette smoke.
Wow.
So I would walk in the house and my wife would say, you know what's the routine? Out. But
My goodness. Yeah.
yeah, I was there. I used to get acute tonsillitis every month because of the smoke.
Oh.
But then when I went outside for 25 years, I never did get sick.
Wow.
Rain or shine, I used to work all wet. Then within an hour, I would dry up because of the sun. And I never did get sick. No cold, no nothing.
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience, like the plantation, the hotel. But you look back now and you go, oh, those were the days.
We used to have to put Durham bags on the pipes because our our water was not clean, our drinking water, and we had to have tetanus shots every year.
Wow.
Because of that.
So you folks both work cannery.
Yeah.
Did you either of you ever go to work at the plantation or
No.
no? Cannery the whole time until
Only summer. The cannery was summer
summer.
until
That was work for the younger,
February.
the teenagers.
And then as you ate, what did you end up doing as adults?
As adults.
Yeah, like so you said you got married, you moved to West Side, yeah,
Yeah.
Auntie? So what did you do on the West Side?
I worked for Dairy Queen for
Oh.
what, 29 years.
Oh.
I worked there.
Yeah. Okay.
I was a supervisor there
Oh, nice.
at Dairy Queen. I worked there.
And even when did you move to the to San Diego or to the
In 1986, 1986.
1986?
1986.
Oh,
Well, actually, first I moved to Texas.
Mm.
I was there for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a bad recession, and my son-in-law lost his job. So we moved to, that's how we moved to San Diego.
Oh, I see.
And then they were there for about 3 years, and they moved back
Mm-hmm.
to Texas. And my daughter says, "Are you moving back to Hawaii?" And I said, "No." She said, "Are you moving back to Texas with us?" And I said, "No." And she says, "Mom, you cannot live here alone." And I said, "With no family?" And I said, "Who said so?" And I lived in San Diego for 10 years with no family.
Wow.
But I had wonderful friends.
That's
wonderful.
That's
And, you know, going back to the plantation years,
Mm-hmm.
Sally had experience. Her house was across from the mill.
Mm.
And she had that, what do you call that? That black
Suit.
suit.
The
And
ash.
black
The
suit.
ash.
Black was everywhere. She had to clean every day.
Oh my gosh.
And the kids' feet and
Everybody knew where their children played because they go home, their feet all black.
Oh my
I used to learn more when my husband was working.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got through, I had to go take a bath because all the ashes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but thanks to God, nobody got sick.
Yeah.
No asthma, no
Because you
nothing.
clean so much.
Well, okay, you gotta.
Yeah. So what did you do after you started? You got married, you had family. what-
Yeah, I had stepladder children
Oh.
for 7 years. I had,
7 kids.
Cool.
1 year, 2 months. 1 year, 2 months.
Oh my
Every time I
1
three
year,
weeks
3
old.
months.
Every time I 3 weeks old.
But, you know, I'm not sorry. I mean, you know, since my husband was 12 years older, well, he made up for all the lost years. So. But we had a good time and, you know, raised our family.
Mm-hmm.
I had 5 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
You know that changing from the plantation,
Mm-hmm.
you know the road down to Ainini.
Yes.
From there, all the way to Church of the Pacific,
Yes.
there was a pineapple field.
Okay.
Pineapple was raised there from what we call the down cannery.
Mm-hmm.
And the pineapple was about so big and so sweet because it was pasture land before.
Right.
So we used to enjoy. We had to go to Moloa, where the dairy was.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the work area started in Moloa.
Mm-hmm.
Then you catch the truck, go to Hanalei, and then we harvest the pineapples. And if you're working in Kapa, you can grab the pineapple tops and snap it. So your wrist got real tough.
Mm.
Well, Hanalei, you couldn't because the pineapple was so big. You'd have to literally break it off the plant,
Wow.
break the top off, and then put it in the conveyor belt.
Mm.
And it was an eerie sight, you know. If people that didn't know, they'd be going to Kapa at night and they'd see all these lights in the middle of the field. They go, "What is happening? EB Jimmy's or what?" But it was the night shift harvesting pineapple.
But you know what was really nice about it is, like we would be going home. If you saw a ripe pineapple, people would stop on the side of the road, go pick a pineapple, and nobody said anything. You wanted a pineapple, you pick a pineapple and you take it home.
Oh.
Well, today you can't do that. You know.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, we used to do that. Just stop and my dad would say, "Okay, go pick that ripe pineapple over there,"
Mm-hmm.
and we would have pineapple at home.
Oh, nice.
My father-in-law used to fill up when the pineapple closed. My father-in-law, I had one Datsun pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
He'd go in the fields that were abandoned. The whole back of the truck would be with pineapple.
Oh my gosh.
And he'd have a special knife. And he never get no rash, no nothing. He used to love the pineapple because it wasn't that big, it was small.
Mm-hmm.
So he had one whole truckload of pineapple that he ate.
So
No.
when the plantation closed, how did, I mean, life changed obviously.
Yeah.
Drastically.
Drastically. So what kind of things changed?
They said Kīlauea was going to end up a ghost town.
Wow.
That's what everybody was saying.
Why do you think that didn't happen?
Because it was the people were motivated to improve and to do something because the plantation made the arrangements that they could buy some of the houses. They could buy house and lot for very little money, or you could get the lot, and they had two companies, Hicks and Schatzer and Gaylord, that would be able to make the houses for you. So a house and lot would be like $20,000, and they had farmers' home loans where your mortgage was like $150 a month. So it was an incentive for people to go and find better jobs. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But as a whole, a lot of the people, did find better employment. And it was at the closing of the plantation that Princeville opened up. They started. I remember one of the first local employees that Eagle County had, that's the original name, was this guy, Joe Mersberg. His wife is Kamala.
Oh, yes.
He was the first to quit the plantation to go to work for Princeville. And everybody says, Joe, you stupid. You don't know benefits, no nothing, What you doing, quitting the plantation? This is life here. It's a lifetime, thing. He said, no, just watch. And as the plantation closed, they told him, you the oldest employee here, you the smart one. He said, yeah, you guys know what they told me I was stupid. But look, Princeville picked up most of the employees from Kīlauea went to work on the golf course and stuff. Some of them went to work for the state, which is, is beneficial for them too. But as a whole, I don't know what the percentage. Gary, you remember about the percentage of the employees that found other jobs?
No, I don't know. Probably close to 100% though.
Yeah, but it was something, and everybody, those that she had to move because they did by sections.
You had to move?
Yeah, they did by sections
I had to go
the
up,
housing.
I don't know what shop is that.
The stone building.
Stone building.
Oh,
the one on this side.
Dispensary.
The far left where
The vet is.
no.
I don't know what yet it's. No, not this side. The ending.
The long building.
Yes.
Okay, the left side. Where Jim Edmonds is.
Okay.
Okay, that's where she had to move in with her 7 kids.
We had all my kids said buy them. I said we cannot buy this because get big kitchen and dining room and the boys' bedroom was
So you live in that was the
for
dispensary.
temporary
Yeah, temporary while
How
they
come
were
you had to
preparing
move?
the land.
because they was gonna broke my house and we bought land. This, they were selling 48 cents a square foot.
Wow.
You look here, one good one. Her son Jen.
Yeah.
He hated squash.
Okay.
So guys would tell her, "You need the squash. What squash? Oh, I dropped one squash by your house." No, she asked the kids, "You guys saw the squash?" No. Well, she had a freezer. When it was time for move, they had moved the freezer out. They found all the squash that people had given, all in the back of the freezer. Jen would come home, he would see the squash, he'd take it, throw them in the back of the freezer. So they had over a dozen fermented squash in the back of the freezer.
My goodness.
But,
But now he eats squash.
Okay. How long did you guys live in the stone building?
Only one. Not that long. So many months, if I'm not mistaken.
And then you took advantage of one of those
We had
opportunities to buy.
We choose Hicks,
Mm-hmm.
and then with the property. My husband he choose the property. They went by seniority,
Mm-hmm.
so he had choose the property.
Was it close to where you used to live?
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
you used to live where Jackie lived. Now you live by the service station where Scott's Auto is.
Yeah, but that's not that far.
Yeah.
It's
It's
across.
clear.
Yeah.
But see, they went
Only
by
it's right up-
seniority.
Only by of course.
Okay.
The senior, the ones with seniority.
Mm-hmm.
his first choice.
Oh, I see.
And he was one, long time after his father died. He helped the mother, and then he worked plantation already.
What did he do for the plantation?
All kind. He used to drive the tractors, and for a while, and then he was a painter towards the end.
Oh, okay.
He painted the houses.
But he was with the plantation for a long time, so he had high seniority.
Yeah.
Oh.
That strip, Alona Street, that's the first increment.
Yeah, they built
Oh.
That they
outside
built.
first.
And that houses are all new houses.
Right.
And then Kīlauea Road, where your friends live, that was the unit chairman's house.
By the Mitsuis
Yeah,
and Tamuras and
Nobu Tamura was the unit chairman, so he had preference. So that house is a custom house that
those
he's
lots are all
built.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
The lots are all
10,000.
big, yeah.
So that strip, and then had quite a few houses that was supervisors' houses that they sold to the people, and it was very inexpensive again. Then the Kaikala Road, that's the next increment. They made that the prices of the houses went up a little bit from what the original price, and then us over here, we were the Ratum.
Oh.
And we were fortunate that had Hicks, Schatzer, and Gellert, and then we had Ichi Matsumura construction. So our section in there, almost all the houses that were in that area was done by Ichi Matsumura, which was a crazy contractor. He'd be doing Mamu's house. I'd come and say, "Hey, how come? I thought I had lumber by my place." The carpenter said, "Oh, Mamu had grumbled, so we had to take your lumber and make his." So then I'd grumble. Next time, they took the lumber from Mamu and came to mine. So, because he couldn't get enough lumber in time, he was bouncing the lumber back and forth.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
But hey, we got our house done. And, it's 3-bedroom, bath and a half, 2-car garage. And we made some improvements, but the thing is, we had to wait, But it was worth the wait.